This one's for you. Yo, Blue. Yo, Blue. Yo, Blue. This one's for you. This one's for you. This one's for you, boy. Yo, Blue. Yo, Blue. Yo, Blue. This one's for you. The boy Blue. 91982. Getting down here on motherfucking YouTube. At my fucking homie, he's crazy as can be. Crazy motherfucking juggalo for you to see. Go Blue, look at him dance. Crazy motherfucker getting drunk with ants and plants. Bring it round for the boy Blue. 91982. Add the motherfucker, subscribe to him too. Yo Blue, yo Blue, yo Blue. 91982. Yo Blue, yo Blue, yo Blue. 91982, the boy Blue. He's got that clown ass face, a wicked little laugh, crazy eyes up in this place. Bring it back, motherfucker, for all that fucking shit. Look at this wicked ass homie on his head. Bring it back for the boy Blue. 91982. Let him come up to YOU. He's going crazy, motherfucker, up on this space. My space, the bitch, and you'll get him in your face. Yo Blue, yo Blue, yo Blue. 91982. Yo Blue, yo Blue, yo Blue. The boy Blue. 91982 for Blue. Yo Blue, yo Blue. Look at him on YouTube. Blue, yo Blue, yo Blue. Add the motherfucker Blue in this house. Wicked crazy mouse. Bring it back for laughs. Everybody getting down with Blue. My homie True. Now get it back for the boy Blue. 91982. Yo Blue, yo Blue, yo Blue. Get it down for boy Blue. Yo Blue, yo Blue, yo Blue. A crazy motherfucker on YouTube. Blue. He's dancing all around the place, getting hella drunk, hella high up in your face. He's coming round, wicked clown, getting down, down and round. Indeed, Delaware, bring it down for your way. Crazy shirtless motherfucker, tattoo on his chest for his motherfucking daughter. Yo Blue, bring it Rosie in it too. Bring it for his daughters, yeah, look at boy Blue. Yo Blue, yo Blue, yo Blue. 91982. Yo Blue, yo Blue, yo Blue. 91982. Wicked clown, getting down, juggalo, getting round. Wicked clown, collecting all that juggalo crown. Yo Blue's getting down, ready for you motherfuckers. Juggalos online, bring it up for all you suckers. Bring it down for all the haters, hating on his shit. He says fuck the fuck off to your shit. Motherfucker, bring it down for this Norwegian clown. Singing this frown downtown for boy Blue. Go Blue, go Blue, go Blue. 91982. Yo Blue, yo Blue, yo Blue. Bring it down for the boy Blue. 91982. Blue, the boy Blue, the boy Blue. The boy Blue. 91982. The boy Blue, the boy Blue. 91982.
And I am a white piece of shit, and I do approve this message. Y'all stay safe. Have a good day. God bless.
What's good with it, y'all?
Dr. Jeffries first used this technique to resolve an immigration case and after that, a paternity dispute. But this would be the first time it was ever attempted in a criminal case to reveal the identity of a double murderer.
Let's start with Linda Mans. This is her DNA profile taken from her hair. Next track is a mixture of semen and vaginal fluid from that victim, showing her DNA profile as
What up, Cyrus?
a single man semen DNA profile.
Is that you?
Victim,
This is me. What's up?
this is her blood DNA profile, a band here, and another one off to the left.
Is that you,
The
Cyrus?
semen Republican victim both revealed two fake bands whose position on the autoradiograph was very similar to the semen profile seen from Linda Mann. So, first conclusion, both girls have been raped and therefore presumably murdered by the same man. What about the prime suspects, Richard Buckland? This is his blood DNA profile here and here, completely different from the semen profile. Conclusion, both girls have been raped and therefore presumably murdered by the same man, and that man was not the prime suspect, Richard Buckland.
The result shocked the police.
It wasn't one choice. They basically didn't believe it was a mistake, and that was quite right. Healthy skepticism of entirely new technology. And indeed, I didn't believe the results myself. So we did retesting. The testing was done again independently by Home Office forensic scientists, all pointing to the same conclusion, namely that Buckland was not the guilty party in this case.
After 4 months in custody, Richard Buckland was released and became the first person in the world to be convicted of murder through the use of DNA profiling.
I have no doubt whatsoever that he would have been found guilty had not been for the DNA evidence. He would have been jailed for life. I mean, that was a remarkable occurrence.
But why did Richard Buckland confess to a crime he didn't commit?
The pressure started getting really hard. We still have a chance.
He had to have discovered the body himself, because in the terms of his confession, he was able to give a very detailed description of her clothing, where the body was, in what position it lay, the ligature and so on, details that nobody could possibly know unless they'd actually seen the body.
With Buckland now out of the picture, a double murderer was still loose.
And of course, the next stage was for David Baker then to make what I think was an incredibly courageous decision.
A DNA manhunt. Police sent letters to all men between the ages of 13 and 33 living in the villages of Narraborough and Enderby. The letter asked each man to volunteer for a blood and saliva test.
I'm sure they expected that the real killer, if he was indeed a resident of the villages, would probably try to escape responsibility of giving a blood sample.
DNA testing would only be performed on those who had the same blood type as the killer, which was about 10%.
And it was really an attempt to try and flush out the guilty party.
Which is what it did.
But not the way police approached.
Boy, Carl, get your doing what I'm done. Use the next big start. Meet the next gives a morning troll of instant early sensation. Also trying to kickstart severe congestion and cough.
The biggest reason for One Big Beautiful Bill, of course, was about making life better for hardworking Americans. Americans in every county in America will see tax relief from this bill, and that the greatest proportional benefit would go to working Americans. We're eliminating taxes on tips for millions of tip workers. We're eliminating taxes on overtime for millions of hourly workers. And that, of course, means more jobs and opportunities and better wages for hardworking Americans.
In the classroom, in the field, on the water, Stony Brook University is a place for daring to ask bigger questions, daring to be true to yourself. Stony Brook University, dare. In the field, on the water, Stony Brook University is a place for daring to ask bigger questions, daring to be true to yourself. Stony Brook University, dare to be. In the classroom, in the field, on the water, Stony Brook University is a place for daring to ask bigger questions, daring to be true to yourself. Stony Brook University, dare to be. In the classroom, in the field, on the water, Stony Brook University is a place for daring to ask bigger questions, daring to be true to yourself. Stony Brook University, dare to be. In the classroom, in the field, on the water, Stony Brook University is a place for daring to ask bigger questions, daring to be true to yourself. Stony Brook University, dare to be.
was set. A DNA manhunt to flush out the killer of Linda Mann and Dawn Ashworth. It was a bold plan. More than 5,000 men voluntarily gave blood and saliva samples. But one worker at this local bakery didn't. His name was Colin Pitchfork, and was already known to police for earlier convictions for indecent exposure. He didn't want any further involvement with the police, so he persuaded co-worker Ian Kelly to take the blood test for him. Kelly lived outside the area and wasn't asked to take the test himself. Kelly was the perfect foil.
Pitchfork spun him a yarn that he'd already given blood on behalf of somebody else who couldn't go because he was wanted by the police, etc., etc. And Kelly ostensibly swallowed that hook, line, and sinker.
Since police required identification before taking a blood sample, Kelly needed some photographic proof he was Colin Pitchfork. They both went down to a photo booth and took a passport-sized photo of Ian Kelly. His own passport, slit the plastic casing with a razor blade, and neatly inserted Kelly's photo in its place.
The police failed to observe that a photograph had been substituted for the original, and therefore they believed that this was Colin Pitchfork, and there was his picture to prove it.
Ian Kelly then took the blood test for Colin Pitchfork. Of the more than 5,000 men who voluntarily gave blood and saliva samples, none matched the profile of the murderer. But no one could anticipate what would happen next. On a summer's evening, 1 year after Dawn Ashworth was found brutally raped and murdered, Ian Kelly joined fellow bakery workers at this local pub. And the conversation turned to the DNA manhunt. A young woman in the group overheard Kelly bragging that he had taken the blood test for Colin Pitchfork.
She sat there and listened to that and thought to herself, there's something not right about this. This isn't something that someone normally does, no matter how afraid he is of the police. And so she put in a call to the Leicestershire murder inquiry team, and that's what made them focus on Colin Pitchfork.
Police quickly located Pitchfork to question him about the blood test and what he might know about the two murders. Within a very short time, he confessed to killing both Linda Mann and Dawn Ashworth.
Pitchfork believed in DNA fingerprinting right away. Not that he knew any more about it than the rest of the world, but he'd been following it in the newspapers, and he believed in it. And he knew that it was as good as an inked fingerprint, and he knew he was finished when they arrested him. So he confessed quite readily.
Without this breakthrough, the chances are police would have never caught Pitchfork. And I think it's fairly clear that had he not been caught, then he would have
What up, Stu?
killed again.
Colin was
Ooh.
27 years old, married with two children.
Bah.
His wife had no idea she was married to a serial killer.
I think he was able to deceive her perfectly well, so that nobody in the whole world knew that he was the guilty person.
The same story. The wife, the brother, the mother, the friends of serial killers never suspect that they could be serial killers.
On January 22nd, 1988, Colin Pitchfork became the first person ever to be convicted in a murder case solved by
I'm just chilling, watching Forensic Files. Pop sleeping.
For his part in the deception, Ian Kelly was convicted of conspiracy to pervert justice and sentenced to an 18-month prison sentence, which was suspended. He served no time for his crime.
I was drunk to do what I did.
I think we've learned a lot from events from both of these two films. Certain scientific advances that have been made with DNA have spread itself now throughout the world.
There's this case of all cases where, on which DNA really colours teeth in the forensic sense.
The door has been opened to a whole new aspect of medical investigation.
People will be talking about this case 100 years from now, not because of my book, but because of how Jeffries discovered.
So you finally got a beer, eh? Yeah, I drank one earlier. I'm drinking my second one. Fuck you, Stu. Stu, it's one-sided to gather, and you better watch your back.
You could feel this holiday season slip into your comfort zone. Begin with a story of a missing child. It could be anywhere in the world. We will bring out these people are rotating about this mess and they're saying. You have to remember every detail. And honestly believe that this is all a coincidence. What's going to cost us? This was all planned.
Yeah, good people can do bad things if they're pushed.
Yeah, right, Stu.
Tyler, it's your red dragon. Got another flare up. Some on his skin. Mommy wants to help you more than you can dream. So let's try a little dab of Vitama Cream.
Vitama Cream is the prescription topical treatment for eczema in adults and children down to 2 years of age. The most common side effects in patients with eczema treated with Vitama Cream were upper respiratory tract infection, red raised bumps around the hair pores,
Right.
lower respiratory tract infection, headache, asthma, vomiting, ear infection, pain in extremity, and stomach area pain.
That's why people say you're right. Two decades after Adolf Hitler terrorized Europe, a high-ranking religious figure in the United States, Archbishop Valerian Trifa, was embroiled in controversy. Romanian immigrants identified Archbishop Trifa as a man with a secret past, responsible for the murders of hundreds of Jews during the war. Trifa denied it. To see whether Trifa played a role in these horrific war crimes, the United States government looked for scientific proof.
Stu, you killed my lord. You're a Jew. Stu the Jew.
Sir, could you confirm your name for me, please?
My name is Vero Trifa.
In 1950, a Romanian immigrant, Viorel Trifa, came to the United States to start his life. Trifa told United States immigration officials that he was a victim of the Nazis during the war. He said that when he left his native Romania,
I smell lies, Stu.
by the German Gestapo. He said he was held at the Dachau concentration camp and was lucky to escape with his life. After the war, he said he struggled to survive, and then, like hundreds of thousands of refugees, came to America. Displaced
The Displaced Persons Act was a statute enacted by the U.S. Congress.
Then why do you got a Jew nose?
1948 that had the noble purpose of rescuing victims of persecution in Europe who were languishing in the so-called DP camps and resettling them in the United States where life would be better.
This is a copy of one of the forms Trieper filled out for entry into this country. In this official account of his treatment by the Germans, he says he was a political prisoner held by the Gestapo. In 1957, Trieper was granted U.S. citizenship. Trieper had strong ties to the Romanian Orthodox Church, and after coming to the United States, he was ordained a priest and quickly rose up through the church ranks. Trieper became Archbishop of the Diocese of Detroit and took the religious name Valerian. But soon, a cloud of suspicion and controversy surrounded Archbishop Trieper. Some of the Romanian immigrants in his church thought they recognized Trieper from their years in Romania. They said that a man
Through the Jew,
had been an ardent follower of a
denying his Jewish heritage.
Trieper was a leader of the Iron Guard, a pro-Nazi group in Romania.
The Iron Guard was the largest of the fascist movements in Romania. It was violent.
You would get along good with Marty. He's a proud Jew.
It was the equivalent of the Nazi movement in Romania.
This picture shows an Iron Guard rally during the early years of World War II. The similarities to Nazism,
Heil Hitler.
the uniforms are clearly evident. And like the Nazis, the Iron Guard was also anti-Semitic. And like Hitler, the Iron Guard encouraged violence against the Jews and against others they perceived as enemies. Archbishop Trieper adamantly denied he had ever been a member.
Dude, Marty hated me for a reason, laughing my ass off. Marty hated you? Why do you say that?
And it also meant that a high-profile religious leader in the United States was in fact a Nazi war criminal. Romanian immigrants living in the United States identified a high-ranking religious figure, Archbishop Valerian Trieper, as a Nazi war criminal from World War II. They believed that Archbishop Valerian Trieper had once been a member of Romania's Iron Guard, sympathetic to Adolf Hitler, and a group who encouraged violence against Romanian Jews. On January 20th, 1941, VRL Trieper had broadcast a hate-filled radio address from the Romanian capital city of Bucharest. That radio address, encouraging violence against Jews, culminated in the roundup of thousands of Jews in Bucharest the next day. News accounts describe the slaughter known as the pogrom. Department of
So now you're German?
reads one of the news accounts.
Why do you hate the Jews so much still?
Single episode of pogrom,
You neo-Nazi?
quote-unquote kosher butchering last Wednesday night of more than 200 Jews in the municipal slaughterhouse. The Jews who had been rounded up after several hours of Iron Guard raids were put into several trucks and carried off to the slaughterhouse. There, the green shirts, he means the Iron Guardists, forced them to undress and led them to the chopping blocks, where they cut their throats in a horrible parody of the traditional Jewish methods of slaughtering fowl and livestock.
Romanian immigrants told U.S. authorities that VRL Trieper was also the editor of the Iron Guard.
You heard it here, folks. Stu hates the Jews.
He also called for violence against
He's
Jews.
anti-Semitic.
His role, as far as the pogrom was concerned, was one of a propagandist, one of an advocate of anti-Semitic hatred, one of an inciter whose writings created an atmosphere in which
Algonquin? That sounds like some kind of bad medicine.
and acceptable, but encouraged.
Algonquin. Does that cause severe explosive diarrhea? Native American, huh? I have some Native American in me from the Fuckahoe tribe. Blue, you're drunk. Go to bed. You used the wrong your. I'm being a grammar Nazi now. I gotta trim my nails.
The U.S. government now faced a dilemma. Was there any way of finding out whether Archbishop Trifa was a past member of the Iron Guard? The only apparent evidence against Trifa was the decades-old memories of his fellow Romanian immigrants.
All of these cases were and are among the most challenging ones that anyone in law enforcement could ever imagine confronting. All of these cases involve crimes that took place long ago, decades earlier. It's difficult enough to prove a mugging that took place yesterday.
But one Romanian refugee, a New York dentist named Charles Kramer, refused to let the case die. Kramer's relatives were among the Jews killed at the hands of Romania's Iron Guard, and he vowed to bring Archbishop Trifa to justice. For 20 years, he petitioned the U.S. government to examine the case. In 1973, the Department of Justice officially opened an investigation into whether Archbishop Trifa had played a role in murdering Jews during World War II. U.S. approached the West German government for assistance. The Germans kept meticulous records during the war, and in their archives, investigators found 22 postcards written by a man named Trifa, who had been a member of the Iron Guard.
The postcards were found in a record group in West Germany, not in the communist bloc, but in West Germany, in a record group that was called
Stu, you are not a real juggalo.
just small miscellaneous collections that the German archivists did not know how to file.
Blue, do I annoy you? No, not at all, Stu. You always brighten up my day.
With no concentration camp survivor. The writer was a guest of the Nazi war and spent the war years in relative comfort.
They essentially describe what it's doing during the day, see a movie, what the weather's like, very normal, mundane type of stuff that an individual at peace without much fear of his life, might write to his comrades while on vacation.
The cards were signed by Viero Trifa. If they were written by the man known in the United States as Archbishop Valerian Trifa, the Archbishop had lied to immigration officials.
Because I had dotted
Forensic
what?
scientists looked for some way to prove that Archbishop Valerian Trifa had written.
You admitted you're a Nazi. You're the one with German in you.
For decades, rumors circulated that Archbishop Valerian Trifa, a high-ranking
Admitted, that's what I thought you meant.
Orthodox Church in the United States, was
You're a Nazi
member
still.
of Romania's Iron Guard, a pro-Nazi group that encouraged the murder of hundreds of Jews during World War II. Archbishop Trifa denied he was a member. But when U.S. government officials found 22 postcards allegedly written by Trifa from Germany during the war, they asked document examiner Gideon Epstein to conduct a handwriting analysis.
No two people have ever been found to have the same handwriting. Not twins, not identical twins. Handwriting is composed of motor, muscular, and nervous movements of the body, all working together. And it becomes habitual and unique and individual almost from the point of time when people start to write.
Epstein spent months comparing signatures on the postcards with samples of Archbishop Trifa's known signatures, like this one from an official church document.
The whole forensic.
You're the whitest Native American I've ever seen.
And something that's known. And handwriting is basically the same thing. We have usually a document or a writing that's disputed, and then we have writings that are known. And the question is, did the person who made the known make the disputed?
Epstein noticed that the writings in all cases were done with extreme speed, or what is called fluency. So-called fluent writers have wide variations in how they write. And those variations are almost always the same, no matter how often they're repeated.
But to try to simulate or copy the style of a writer that has a great deal of variation, and to be able to simulate that variation at the same speed and rhythm and fluency with all of the unconscious habits that the writer has, it's an impossibility.
After months of analysis, Gideon Epstein reached his conclusion. There was no doubt the writer of the German postcards was Valerian Trifa. This was proof that Trifa lied to immigration authorities, but he vowed to fight any deportation. Prosecutors were concerned. Their only solid evidence was the handwriting analysis and eyewitness identifications.
Lady Mistress on Twitch. What's up?
Looking at a blow-up photo of one of the postcards, investigators saw what they thought might be a clue. The card had only a return address, apparently just an update on where the writer was living. A large blank space. Investigators saw what they thought might be a fingerprint. They petitioned the West German.
Oh yeah, do you got AIDS still?
The West Germans did not want the postcard damaged, and in the 1970s, the powders used to detect fingerprints permanently altered the card. The case stalled for years. I believe that
Everyone pray for Stu. He has AIDS.
The case was just too difficult. They couldn't handle it.
What brought the case back to life was a new piece of forensic technology, the laser. In the 1970s, researchers discovered that laser beams react with the oils that form fingerprints, causing the prints literally to glow or luminesce. The procedure was non-invasive. In other words, a print, if it existed, could be taken from the German postcard without damaging it. In 1982, the West Germans brought the postcard to FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. to be examined.
1/3.
Technology.
It was classified technology that enabled them, they believe, to detect.
Stop spreading lies that I'm 2/3.
Traditional means.
I'm only 1/3.
So sensitive was this technology, that is to say, so secret was it, that when a German official brought the postcard, the original, to the FBI, the German official was allowed to go up to the door of the room in which the machine sat and no further. He was barred from even seeing it.
But there were a number of problems. Investigators were not even sure the postcard contained a print. And so much time had passed since the postcard was written, there were questions about whether the finger oils that might be present would be visible, even with laser technology.
You heard it here, folks. Stu's a raging homosexual. He's 2/3 gay. Stu. I'm gonna make AI songs about you, Stu.
In 1982, the U.S. government's investigation of Valerian Trifa,
Hey, that's the year I was born.
Archbishop of Detroit, was coming to a head. Prosecutors suspected that Trifa had lied about his involvement in the murder of hundreds of Jews during World War II.
Stu.
Trifa said they had the wrong man. That Trifa was a common name in Romania, and that it was another man named Trifa who had been the member of the pro-Nazi Iron Guard movement. The case came down to one postcard.
Stu is part of the Iron Guard.
In Germany during World War II. Forensic scientists suspected that it may contain a fingerprint. If a print was found and it matched Archbishop Valerian Trifa, there would be solid proof that he had lied about his past. Analyst Ron Kopenko put the card under a diffused laser beam. The laser light reacts with human finger oils to reveal prints. But in this case, the card was more than 40 years old, and there were questions about whether anything would be found. Kopenko, examining the card through orange filtered goggles that eliminate all sources of light other than the laser, was surprised at what he saw. A clear print glowing on a blank area of the postcard. Despite the age of the postcard, it had absorbed enough finger oil to form a clear print. The question was whether the fingerprint on the postcard was the fingerprint of Archbishop Trifa. Kopenko photographed
the print on the postcard. In this photo, the print, a left thumbprint, can be clearly identified. Investigators now went to the document Tripa entered the U.S. with in 1950. At that time, he was fingerprinted. The thumbprint of that document was compared with the thumbprint taken from the postcard. It was a perfect match. The prints on both documents were the left thumbprint of Valerian Tripa.
The ultimate proof is a latent fingerprint. There's no known way to fabricate a latent fingerprint in a way that is undetectable. So when we got word from the Bureau that their technology had succeeded.
Well, you're just plain not a real juggalo, still. You're Juff.
Something that never happened in any of our
You're a neo-Nazi Juff.
we were, of course, accepted. We were accepted.
This 40-year-old print is the oldest latent print ever detected by any law enforcement agency in the world. Investigators speculate that when Tripa wrote the card using the fountain pens of the day, his finger oils mixed with a small amount of ink, sealing the oils into the porous paper of the card. The ink faded over time, but the thumbprint remained intact. The print was almost invisible to the naked eye, but clearly visible under the new technology of the laser.
Well, the postcard was a very important piece of evidence because not only were we able to identify his handwriting that he denied making, but also the thumbprint was identified as his. And there is no better form of personal identification than to have both the fingerprint.
You're not a real juggalo if you don't have behind the paint memorized word for word.
No way he could have known it, but the postcard he so casually sent in 1942 would seal his fate some 40 years later.
They went for the fingerprints to see it. Prosecutors always want to have
Better memorize that shit like it's a Quran or some shit.
available on hand.
When informed of the thumbprint match, Archbishop Tripa surrendered his citizenship. For Romanian refugees like Dr. Charles Kramer, who had lost relatives at the hands of Tripa's Iron Guard, the 40-year wait for justice was a long one.
I would have been much more satisfied if the trial went on continuously, exposed this murderer with all the crimes that he committed, let the people at large know that the man that's changed the gun for the cross does not belong in the United States.
For 2 years, no other country was willing to accept Tripa. In 1984, Portugal agreed to take him in. After a youth spent as a fascist leader and adulthood spent as a religious figure hoping to escape his past, Valerian Tripa ended his days as an exile, dying in Portugal in 1987. Though decades have passed since Hitler and his henchmen terrorized Europe, the traces they left behind provided lasting evidence bearing witness to their crimes.
What we have is
I'll be right back.
paper that survives bringing these people down. Some with fingerprints, some without. Really speak volumes about crimes that were committed by Tripa and by others. And it's those documents that survive, even though the victims didn't survive, the documents survived to make these prosecutions possible.
All right, y'all. Well, I'm gonna try to get to sleep. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.
The joy of whole room freshness. Glade Plug-in Scented Oil Fan.
All around you don't even know it.
It's the only freshener to use a continuous built-in fan.
It's just there in the air.
Unlike some fresheners that seem strong just around the outlet, the Glade fan continuously circulates fragrance throughout your whole room.
This shit'll blow your motherfucking mind. Magic everywhere in this bitch.
Plug-in Scented Oil Fan from Glade. The
pure motherfucking magic
of fragrance.